So are we ready to dance? Who's ready to dance with the divine? So you are all invited, every one of you, and that goes double for you, is invited to dance with the divine. And what does that mean when we dance with the divine? What it means is that we are invited to a greater expression, greater than ever before, greater than we are right now. And Neil Donald Walsh, one of my friends and mentors, he said you're invited to the greatest, most expansive yet to be expression of you. And you know what I found as we go along in life is there's always more, right? We can be happier. Who wants to be happier? We can be healthier. Who wants to be healthier? We can have more money and abundance and play money. I mean real money that you get to play with, right? Who wants more of that? And more harmony, more love. So there's always more. We can always do better. And we can always grow and expand. I love that. And so every one of us has been invited to that. And so you have two choices, though, according to our quote that I've been sharing from the great Sufi poet Hafiz. And that quote says that you were invited to meet the divine. No one can resist a divine invitation, and that narrows down all of our choices to just two. We can say yes and be dressed for dancing, or we can resist everything, resist life, resist our good. We can decide we want struggle, and then be carried on a stretcher to God's ward. So which one would you rather do? Wouldn't you rather be dressed for dancing? I know I would. And so that is our invitation. And today kind of wraps that up. And I'll be sharing with you today 3 things that really help us put on our dancing shoes. And some of you may not know this, but it really helps if you have dancing shoes. I have about 6 pairs. I only wear them for dancing, and they have on the bottom of the shoe, they have this kind of smooth, it's not leather, it's kind of this almost like material that's on the bottom of the shoe, so that when someone spins you, you get to be spinned around. It's really fun, and I noticed a huge difference when I was taking lessons, that when I have my dancing shoes on, that I dance better. There's something that happens, I dance better. So, also, you will notice that if you are taking anyone here ever have a dance lesson of any kind? Anyone ever have a dance lesson? You will notice that if you misstep in your dance lesson, you kind of mess up the whole thing a little bit. And if you have a dance partner and your partner leads you in the wrong step, then you go way off with your partner down the wrong road as well. So maybe we do that sometimes in our own lives. We take ourselves down the wrong road. Anyone ever do that? We find ourselves like, oops. And someone was sharing with me this morning before the service that they're on a program, an eating program, and they ate some things that kind of takes them off, and then they felt really bad and kind of beat themselves up. Anyone ever do that? Yeah. So what I shared with this person is that we're all kind of like this ship that's on the ocean, right? And we're sailing along, and if we find ourselves going off course, we just make a correction. You make a correction. It's very easy. You just very gently bring yourselves back, and you get back on track, right? But what do? Sometimes we feel bad. We beat ourselves up. I'm really terrible. I went off my program, right? No. We just let it go. You know, like the story I shared with you about the guru who was sitting around the campfire, because it's camping season. He's sitting around the campfire with his students, and a hissing flame, not a flame, an ember lands on his hand, and what do? We go, oh my, look at this. There's an amber burning my skin. No, what do? Our automatic reaction? So if we find ourselves off track, we just bring ourselves back. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So in that same idea, maybe when you're dancing, someone has stepped on your toes. Anyone ever step on your toes? I've had my toes on stepped a lot. Cowboy boots are the worst. Dancing with a cowboy, oh my gosh. In fact, they've even broken my toe, not my toe, but my toenail got shattered. So I'm very careful now. When someone has cowboy boots, I dance like this. Very carefully. So there's three steps that we can take that get us dressed for dancing, and see how these fit into your life. To see if you are doing these 3 things that really help you put on your dancing shoes and dance with the divine. And our guided meditation today, which I just absolutely love. The first time when it came to me, I just started crying. It was so beautiful. So I'm happy to share that with you as we bring today to a close. But right now, I want to share with you these 3 steps, 3 things you can do that will help you put on your dance shoes. Number 1 is called blueprinting. Number 2 is called bridging. And number 3 is called building. So what in the world is blueprinting? How many of you have ever built a house? Anyone here? I have. I'm the only one. I don't mean myself, but I had a house built when I lived in the States. And I got to work with a carpenter and a builder, and it's really fun. If you've never built a house, I would invite you to do that. It's absolutely divine. You put the rooms where you want, you pick the colors you want, you get the tile you want, fireplace or not. It's really fun. So blueprinting means what it sounds like. It is discovering your inner calling, your divine dream, the way in which God wants you to express in this lifetime, in the world as you. So that's what blueprinting is. Just like an architect discovers from the blueprint how to build a house, we have within us a blueprint that we, I believe, chose before we came here. Before we arrived here on planet Earth, we had some idea of how we wanted to express. And so we do have a blueprint. And our blueprinting begins when we deeply listen to the divine invitation. And I'm going to give you a couple questions to think about to get your answer of what you're here to do. You're going to love this. Okay, number 1 question about love. What would I love to do? What do you love, not like? What do I like? What do you love to do? What do you love to do? Next question. What brings me life? Third question. What enlivens me and excites me? And finally, what lifts me up from the inside out? What lights you up when you're going to go do this thing? Now, some people say, well, I like to meditate, or I love to meditate, and that's what it is. Maybe you could teach meditation. Maybe you could study. You could go and travel the world and study, like Greg Brayton studied at all of the spiritual teachings in the whole world. He went and studied at ashrams, and he studied at temples and all different places. Maybe you could do that. So what do you love? What do you love to do? Author, philosopher, theologian, educator, civil rights leader Howard Thurman said this, and I love this quote. This is a powerful quote. He said this. He said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. Because what the world needs are more people who have come alive. What makes you come alive? The divine invitation is for you to go and do that. A lot of people say, I don't know. I don't know. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? And what makes many people happy, what I've discovered, is when they have a vision for their life. It's the picture of the life you are living after you answer the divine invitation. In New Thought, we call this your mental equivalent, or I call it the law, M-E, the law of me. Your mental equivalent. Now, some people believe that they are worthy and they have a big vision. Other people see themselves they want to make themselves small. Somebody was sharing that with me the other day, that they really wanted to make themselves really small, really tiny. Is that what you want? Do you want to live small? And maybe you do. Maybe you want to live large. And here's the exciting tidbit of information, that your vision whatever your vision is, whatever brings you alive, whatever, anyone here ever create a vision board? A vision board. You paste pictures of what you would like, and you put it on a board, and you look at it every day, and you think about it every day, and you feel it every day, and you resonate, with it every day. But a lot of us have a vision, and we think about it one time, and then we never think about it again. Anyone ever do that? Okay, so it's kind of like this. I keep giving you examples. Here's another example of, I used to exercise one time. You exercised once, and you said, okay, I don't need to work out anymore, right? Or think about this one. What happens if you brush your teeth once a year? What would happen? You might not have any at the end of the year, right? So if you have a vision, you must keep it before you. You must think about it. You must embody it. You must see yourself in that vision. Envision it in your life. It's inside you. And the best news, the tidbit I want to share, is everything that you vision that is already an accomplished fact. It's already there. You have the power, you have the presence, you have the life, you have the energy to manifest your dreams. There's nothing that you cannot be, do, or have. You have it in you. It's already there. The universe has placed it in you, and you wouldn't have the vision if it wasn't already possible. I love that. So the one thing about your vision that I want you to remember is that it's already yours. I have an envisioning of a worldwide ministry. Right here in Kamloops. Is that possible? How many of you think it's possible? So I can't just think about it once and then put it on the shelf, right? I can't just brush my teeth once and say, okay, they're clean now, they're perfect. No, every day and in every way. I live it, I feel it, I vibe it, I accept it, I walk down the street as it. I see God's calling, saying, yep. So the scripture also tells us this: there is not one thing there's not one thing in your vision that is not already yours. Your word is the vibration of creation. Your word is the vibration of creation. You are that. If you have been inspired to speak the word for your vision, it's already on its way. And one of the things that we want to practice, though, and this is from Abraham Hicks, all about blueprinting, is you want to be happy where you are on your way to something more. Happy where you are on your way to something more. So you don't begrudge where you are. Oh, I'm not there yet. Oh, I've been on this eating program for 2 months. I'm not skinny yet. You don't want to beat yourself up. You want to say, I'm happy where I am on my way to something more. Very powerful words. Okay, so all of that is blueprinting. The next, number 2, is bridging. Now, what happens? What is a bridge? Who knows what a bridge is? It's connecting. It's something that goes over 2 pieces of land, right? 2 parcels of land. So what happens, what bridging is called into being, or how we can practice that, is when our new paradigm, our new way of thinking, our new way of being, the new good that we desire, that we are calling in with our vision board, bumps up against the old vision. Now, does anyone know what happens when you bump up against the new bumps up against the old? What happens to us? Anyone know? It's a little bit bumpy. And I want to give you a picture of how that is. So there's a friend of mine went to Mexico and is doing deep sea diving. Well, it's not that deep, kind of not too far off the shore. And there are limestone kind of caves, and there's one that's like a circle. And so she went with her dive master and she dove into this very deep, crystal clear, blue, beautiful water. And before she did that, the dive master said to her, you're going to come to a point inside this kind of tunnel where there's warm water and cold water and they meet. And during that phase, when they come together, it's kind of fuzzy and you're going to feel kind of weird. It's kind of disorienting because it's kind of fuzzy. And she said she's so glad that the dive master told her that, because otherwise she would have been scared. So sometimes when we choose a new way of being, could be, maybe we have an addiction to something and we're letting go of that, or we have a new way of eating, or we've left our old relationship and we'd like a new one. Sometimes that between time might be a little bit bumpy, a little bit rough, and so we hang in there. We continue to do what we do. We keep our vision going, and that's really what bridging does. And I shared with you last week that our old paradigm affects our logic, our perceptions, our use of time, and the ability to be creative. And 2 weeks ago, I challenged you. I want to know how many of you took up my challenge. I challenged you to create and to look at your old paradigm as it related to your vision and the divine invitation, and to ask the question, what gift does this experience, this bumpy road, what gift is that giving me in order for me to know that and shift the paradigm? When you bump up against an old way of being, it's giving you a gift. Every time you fall off the wagon, it's giving you a gift to choose again. It's giving you some lovely contrast. Don't we love contrast? No, we don't. So that's what a bridge does. It's the bridge over troubled waters, if you will. When we are old and our new kind of bump together, it might be a little bumpy. So the last one we want to look at today is building. And this is when we begin building the new vision, we actually have arrived, we've gone through the bumpy part, and we're fully living in our new place, in our new paradigm, in our new vision. And we cannot force this. We can't, anyone ever try and force something? What happens when you force something? I'm going to go force it to happen. I'm going to force it to happen. What happens? It makes a big mess. Yeah, it makes a big mess. So we don't want to force it. We want to open up and we want to invite it and allow it. We want to be it. But we cannot, get our hammer and our saw and we're going to go make it happen. We're going to embrace it. We're going to surrender into it. And as we begin to build, we say this to ourselves. We say, this is the life I have. This is the life of my vision. What can I do today to generate the vibration of the life in my vision? And there are so many, many ideas, but the one I really want to share with you that is the gem for today, the way that you embody this new vision might surprise you. So here it is. To be in deep and abiding appreciation and gratitude for the life you have now. We don't get there by being mad, by saying, gosh darn it, why aren't I there yet? I should have been there 20 years ago. No. You love and appreciate where you are now. So what are some of the things we can do and say to ourselves to love and appreciate where you are right now? What could you say to yourself? I love myself the way I am. Exactly where I am, bumpiness and all, warts and all, whatever it is. I love myself this way. I love me. To love yourself through whatever challenge the universe or the divine, or you as the divine, is showing you to be that. So in this way, you begin building the life of your divine invitation by starting right where you are, loving right where you are, even if you're not there yet. If you set a goal and you're going to go run 20 miles, you don't do that on the first day, right? You really have some bumpiness. But you want to gently, lovingly, kindly bring yourself into that new and wonderful place. So again, blueprinting is the vision, the mental equivalent. Bridging is being aware and mastering the shifting, the changing, maybe a little bit of expanding your paradigms, a little bit of bumpiness. And the building is answering the divine invitation by putting the bricks and the mortar into place of your new life, of your new expression in this time and this space. And because when we answer that divine invitation and realize our highest and greatest ideals and dreams. We live and move and have our being as that. And so today I'm going to take you into a lovely meditation that really embodies powerfully this whole idea of dancing with the divine, of shifting from our old paradigm. When we have an old paradigm, remember? We have an old paradigm where we're looking through glasses of it's how we see the world, and we're changing that. We're changing how we see things. Right now there's a lot going on in our planet, all kinds of upset, all kinds of wars. Anyone notice that? All kinds of fear, lots of fear. And so that's the paradigm that our planet is kind of looking through. We can shift that one person at a time, beginning with us. And so this meditation will take us through that. So I'm going to ask the divine wingman, or actually in this case the divine wing woman, to begin to play the wings, and we're going to embody this, and we're going to go dancing. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes as you listen to these words and the dancing. There it is. And so just closing our eyes, breathing in and breathing out, taking a nice, deep, cleansing breath, realizing that we are all on this beautiful journey together of life upon life upon life, that we are manifesting our dreams, we are dancing with the divine, we are all invited to blueprint, to envision our lives, to build our bridge over any troubled waters that show up, and to actually do the building brick by brick of our new paradigm. And so I invite you right now to imagine with me that you are at home and you are in your bed and you are sleeping. So you're having a dream, you're sound asleep, just like you were last night. So imagine yourself home right now, very, very comfortable in your bed. So comfortable in your bed, feeling supported. And you're in this wonderful dream. And in this dream, you and God are walking down the beach together. So imagine a beautiful beach in your dream, and you and God are walking down this beach together. And God's footprints go along steadily, consistently, and very rarely changing the pace. Very consistently, God's footprints in the sand. But your footprints are a little bit disorganized, a kind of a stream of zigzags and starts and stops and turnarounds and circles and departures and returns. And for much of the way, it seems to go like this. And you're all over the place. But very gradually, very gently, your footprints come more and more into line with the divine, with God's footprints. And soon, you notice that you're paralleling them very consistently. So you and God are walking in alignment. And this seems perfect. As you go along down this beautiful beach, you and God walking in perfect alignment. But then there's an interesting thing that happens. Your footprints that once etched the sand next to God's are now walking precisely in God's steps. Inside the larger footprints, you are your smaller ones. You and God are becoming one. And this goes on for many, many miles. It's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. Some puffy white clouds, blue, blue sky. Beautiful weather, light breeze. So for many miles, you walk. and your footprints are inside of God's. But gradually you notice another change. Your small footprints inside the larger footprints, they seem to grow larger, and then eventually they disappear altogether. And now there is only one set of footprints in the sand, for they have truly united into oneness. And this goes on for another bit of time. But suddenly the second set of footprints is back. What happened? This time it seems, wait a minute, it seems even worse than the beginning. Oh no, there's zigzags all over the place, there's stops, there's starts, there's deep gashes in the sand, and a veritable mess of prints. And you stand there looking shocked and disappointed. And with that, your dream ends, but you're still in your bed, so don't wake up yet. Your dream ends, but you're still there. And so you have this conversation with God. You say, God, I understand the first scene with the zigzags and the fits, and I was filled with fears and perceptions and paradigms that did not support me. I was all over the place as I learned to shift and change and transmute them. And yet you walked on through this stormy time with me, and you helped me learn to walk more in alignment with your divine invitation. God says that is correct. And then when the smaller footprints were inside the larger ones, I was learning to walk the steps of actively building my life of divine expression. God said, very good. You have understood everything so far. And then when the smaller footprints grew and they filled the larger ones, was I actually living from my divine nature? Was I actually living the divine invitation in every way? God said, precisely. So God, what happened? Did I regress? Did I go back to my old patterns and paradigms? Because at the end of my dream, the footprints separated again, and the time was worse and more of a mess than at first. There were zigzags and stops and starts and deep gashes in the sand. There was a veritable mess of prints all over the place. What happened? And there was a long pause, but a big smile spread across God's face. God said, you didn't know that, my beloved, was when we danced. We danced and we danced, you and I. We were dancing. And so, my beloveds, as we end our month dancing with the divine invitation, let us all dance. Let us dance with the divine. For we are that. And so in that knowingness, I invite you to very gently bring yourselves back from your very cozy place at home, your cozy bed, realizing that indeed you are dancing, not only with the divine, but as the divine. That you are magnificent, you are awesome, you are aligned, tapped in, tuned in, turned on, absolutely at one with the divine. You are dancing as God. And so with that, I just simply say thank you, life. I am incredibly happy right where I am, on my way to something more. That I embrace the blueprinting, the bridging, the shifting, and the building of my new paradigm. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. Thank you, life. And we say together, and so it is. dancing with the divine.